keys to open the classroom door, which the report concludes was likely unlocked anyway. And it meant that the victims remained trapped with the shooter for more than an hour after the first officers arrived on scene.
Folks, the Uvalde, Texas shooting is one of the deadliest in United States history. As he said, 19 children and 2 teachers died in the massacre. Lauren, we think about what happened there. I mean, this was shameful and despicable. Frankly, Texas Governor Greg Abbott should be ashamed of himself. Local law enforcement, Texas Department of Public Safety. I mean, you had hundreds of law enforcement there, and they frankly sat on their asses and were scared to go in.
Yeah, they were scared to go in, and that really contrasts with what we see in a lot of other shooting incidents. Unfortunately, we have so many in this country that we can compare and contrast very easily. And for example, the shooting at the Covenant School in Tennessee, if you remember the footage from that, I think there were 3 law enforcement officers with high-powered weaponry that went in right away and took down the shooter very quickly. In this particular episode, which is extremely strange, these cops apparently were afraid to go in, and of course, what we're left with is one of the most famous, incidents in that Uvalde massacre was that young mother who was begging cops to go in and eventually snuck around the police, went into the school, and got her kids out. Can't get any more cowardice than that. She had no gun, she had nothing. She went in and got her kids. I mean, it was just extremely strange because you typically do see from law enforcement, and again, unfortunately, because the United States has so many mass shootings that these departments have a protocol for this. Even the smaller departments have a protocol for this, which is that you go in as quickly as possible and you confront the person who is murdering people as quickly as possible. This was a really strange thing, and if you remember, the chief of that area, Pete Arredondo, came up missing and had to be hunted down by a correspondent on CNN. It was very strange. It remains very strange. I'm not sure why it took this long to do this report. It was sort of known in the first 2 months that there was a massive failure here. And it's just so terrible because these were little kids that were killed. And of course, the bigger problem is the amount of high-powered weaponry that we allow people to go in and purchase very easily. But it was a shameful thing that members of this department were scared to go in and confront this 19-year-old.
John Quell?
This incident, which is horrifying to even revisit, which we have to keep doing, it's number one, it's a lack of training, a lack of protocol. From what I've read in the article, that one of the high-ranking police officers in the department didn't bring his radio. So you're one of the top commanding officers there, and you don't have your radio to send out commands to or anybody or through dispatch or anything to communicate with the police officers there. The prosecutor's office also gave a press conference and discussed about investigating for any potential criminal conduct. But however, in the Texas code, I was unable to find anything that could find any of these officers criminally liable for their behavior. There's one specific misdemeanor, which would be the official oppression, which reads in section 39.03, a public servant acting under color of his office or employment commits an offense if he intentionally subjects another to mistreatment or to arrest, search, seizure. And so essentially, that's the only thing. And so we're talking about a misdemeanor because they're discussing that they're investigating them for criminal conduct. But this is something that has to be addressed by the Texas legislature, right? I mean, they've got to address this kind of egregious behavior. 77 minutes, all the deaths of these children and of these teachers. I mean, it's horrifying. And, you know, it's interesting because we have the issues of excessive force used by all these police officers across the country, which we regularly talk about on this show. The Washington Post published an article where $1.5 billion are spent paying for officers and their use of excessive force. But in contrast, when we have these mass shootings, they're not doing anything. And it's a problem. I mean, it's a problem. It's a systematic problem with training, with the hiring and retention of these officers. It's a problem, and it's just so tragic.
Greg?
Yeah. You know, when you're dealing with others, it's very easy to do what these cowards did. The shovel-mouthed coward who is the governor of Texas, the Texas legislature, state and local officials, when they're dealing with others, other people's children, perhaps their brown children, you know, it's not your children, other people's teachers teaching other people's children. Then you sit out with your puffed up vests and chests, with your thumbs in your collar, like you're on an episode of Chicago PD, and you pretend with your funky boots on like you're some kind of funky Texas Ranger. And so, you know, none of that is surprising. We saw that in real time. What should be, I think it is, equally disturbing for all of us, maybe even more disturbing, is in the wake of the slaughter, the misinformation campaign, the attempt to paint it as if it was something that it wasn't. This is where the true cowardice comes out, because at the end of the day, even though you treat others differently, you're still a human being. And they should now wear the mark of you should be ostracized. Forget shame. We don't care whether they're shamed themselves. We should ostracize them. These people should be exiled from our common community of humanity. They're going to keep their badges. They're going to keep their guns, even though they won't be shooting them in defense of anyone, probably at us. But they shouldn't be able to go to the grocery store, the gas station, or anywhere else without people simply just looking the other way. And if they make eye contact, just shake your head. Why? Because we have to change the society. We will continue to fight to change the society. But people like this and action like this, even if you can't change it immediately in the courts or in policymaking, you can damn sure change it in the way you treat these people every day.
Absolutely. Folks, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Greg, Jonquel, Lauren, thanks so much. Folks, that's it for us. I will see you all tomorrow right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support us in what we do by joining our Brina Funk fan club. Your donations are critically important to our growth. You do the work that's really important. See your checking money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, or Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And don't forget to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available bookstores nationwide. We'll be right back. I see you tomorrow right here on the show. Holla! Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?